Bartojo interviews the maniac at the beginning of the play, and absent for the majority of the inquiry, maniac conducts the inspector and superintendent. Okay, and though Bartojo was absent in the meeting or in the drama from the very beginning of the drama, however, maniac conducts the interrogation or the judicial inquiry or judicial reopening of the case for the death, accidental death of an anarchist. So this Bartejo is a mixture of the several real-life police officer of Italy. So through the character of Bartejo, Dario Fo wanted to present the police department of Italy at the time. And the second important character, or in some way we can call the first important character, that is the maniac. Maniac dominates the drama from the beginning till end. And maniac is the pivotal character in the play. That is the central character of the play. Okay, and it speaks the majority of the lines. And for this reason, when we had been watching the drama, we see that maniac speaks all the time, and played by Fo himself in the original staging.
Wow.
Actually, through maniac, Dario Fo wanted to present himself, though it is not mentioned in a way, okay? But the matter is that at that time, there was a common trend of Italian drama that presenting the clown, that means Herculean, okay, that means the funny character in the drama, okay? But when Dario Fo himself staged the drama, or himself acted on the drama, Dario Fo himself acted the role of the maniac. Okay, so maniac is the central character of this drama, and through the maniac, Dario Fo wanted to exhibit or show the audience his real intention of drama. That at the very beginning of this online classes session, that I said that Dario Fo wanted to explore the reality or the truth. What is the reality, and how this reality can come to true. So this maniac is the central character of this drama, and through the maniac, Dario Fo has done many things. One thing, through the character of maniac, Fo satirizes the police and also reveals the inconsistencies in police stories. Naturally, we see that whenever maniac cross-examined the inspector and the superintendent of police, then it came true that that through the cross-examination, the maniac tries to get the real truth behind the story and demonstrate questionable nature of police interrogation techniques. As we know that naturally, when a person was caught by the police department or arrested by the police department at the time in Italy, they would follow some rules and regulation, okay, or by interrogation. I will not see rules and regulation. Police would follow some technique to get information from the terrorist or the anarchist when someone was arrested by police department in Italy. So Fo satirizes that technique that was used by the police department to get information from a arrestees or from a anarchist or from a terrorist, okay, supposed terrorist. So also demonstrate the questionable nature, okay, how a person can commit suicide. All the questions came through the maniac, that how it is possible that a criminal or a terrorist or an anarchist will run through the window in presence of 5 or 4 trained Italian police officer. Okay? So through the character Maniac, Dario satirizes the inconsistencies of police stories and also the questionable nature of interrogation of the Department of Police, Italy, and presents the counter information and presented about the case in the press. Okay? When one time through the character, that means at the last stage of the drama, we see that uh, Maniac said that I will publish the all details recording to the press, to the public, to have the real story, what happened in 15 December night in the police department headquarters in Italy, Milan, okay? Milan, Italy. Okay. So through this uh, character Maniac, Dario present satirizes the police department, satirizes the questionable nature or techniques of interrogation in police headquarters, and also gave the information to press and to public, counter information to press and public. Okay? And the Maniac diagnosed acting mania, charged 12 times for impersonation. That means he can he can disguise himself easily and can act in a different role what he is not supposed to do. And diagnosed, that means clinically, it is proved that the maniac had mental sickness or illness. However, one of the patient that he played in several disguised role, most recently pretending a psychiatrist that is, and used his talent to investigate what really happened the night of the anarchist death. Okay. And Maniac, this character was very witty, and through his witty dialogue, through his witty questions, can be similar to the question made by a judge or a Supreme Court judge, Malcolm. So there was no difference between the Supreme Court judge and the maniac. So being maniac, diagnosed as a mentally sick people, this maniac made some very witty comment that got the real story into light, and that happened only for the witty questioning of this maniac. And also this maniac adopts a judge reopening the inquiry, a forensic expert, a bishop, and the last time he disguised as a bishop. And through the maniac, Foe insinuates police spies commonly impersonate members of political groups. Okay? And through this character, Foe also try to highlight that police spies commonly impersonated member of the political group. Okay, so whenever it is not an exception in Italy that when a party will be in power, police department always act in favor of the ruling political party. Okay, so through the questioning and through the maniac, the character maniac, Dario also tried that police has had a relation to the fascist government of Italy at that time. And maniac's shifting persona and hyperactive nature contribute to the alienation effect that prevents audience so absorbed in the play that they fail to think critically about its meaning. Okay, so through the character maniac, Dario satirizes the police department. Okay, and also reveal the inconsistencies of police stories, and reveal the questionable nature of the police questions, and also the counter information. And simultaneously, he is very witty. And through the character of maniac, Dario Fo try to exhibit the relation between the police department of a country, of Italy, and to the government, ruling government of that time, Italy. And uh, if we some more other analysis of this character is that the character maniac roots in Italian theater, okay, theater tradition. In the mid 16th to the mid 18th century, there was a tradition of Italian theater, and you know that Italy was the once upon a time, Italy's Rome was the earliest civilization, and in literature, Italian Renaissance. And in this regard, the drama, the other form of creative art, was centered once upon a time in Italy. And in 16th to 18th century, Italy's drama had followed a tradition. And in this process, the actors, heart of the playmaking process. Okay, so uh, what is the tradition? That means maniac. Uh, uh, Maniac, that means some lunatic character, some disguised character, some funny character, clown. Okay, such kind of character was common in Italian drama in the mid 16th to the 18th century. Dario Fo followed that tradition. Okay, and uh, the actor's heart of the playmaking process, improvise lines rather than blindly following a script. Okay, so this was the tradition of Italian drama that was followed by Dario Fo in his drama. That I said it a little bit earlier. That means the actor will not be blindly reciting the lines from the script. However, they will be telling their own improvised words, own improvised sentence at the time of the playmaking. Okay, so Dario Fo followed that, and plot consisted primarily a stock character rather than other individuals. Okay. There will be a story, there plot construction of the story, and apart from the story, the character will tell different thing rather than the scripts. And actors usually work or mask at the time Italy is in Italian drama tradition. And another thing is that Herculean or the streak star, tricksters, commonly seen with a long hook nose, a half mask over his eyes and mouth, and a multicolored costume. So such kind of funny character, such kind of harlequin, such kind of clown uh, is common in Italian drama at the time when Dario Fo wrote this drama, Accidental Death of an Anarchist. So Dario Fo didn't make a deviation. Rather, with the help of this dramatic tradition, Dario Fo gave the real flavor of drama to the people of Italy in 20th century. Fo's updated version of the Harlequin is devious, irrelevant, and a free spirit. Okay, in one time, so Fo made a edition. So it is a Harlequin is very complex character, okay, disgusting character, and a free spirit. But through this disguised character, through this funny character, Dario Fo tried to investigate or try to criticize the police department and try to satirize the interrogation technique of police administration by this character maniac in his drama, that is the anarchist death of an accidental death of an anarchist. So this is the maniac, and Fo's Harlequin contradicts convention, owes loyalty to none. Okay, so as I had been talking that there is a convention of presenting funny character or Harlequin in Italian drama. However, Fo's Harlequin contradicts convention. That was happening in Italian drama at the time of Dario IV. Dario IV didn't follow the tradition exactly. As a trickster, the maniac deceives the policemen by interrogating and lying to them. They had done to the anarchist. So, being a lunatic character, maniac deceives policemen, okay, and lied them, and they done, and through the interrogation, a maniac tried to get the real information. He leads police to believe he is on their side, and also a funny character, a Harley Quinn or a clown cannot play important role in Italian drama tradition at that time. Naturally, we see uh, they will seen commonly with a long hook nose, a half mask. Sometimes maniac or, or that kind of disguised dress at the police station when he was going to play the role of a judge. That means the nose was long. Okay, so that was the position. But we see a different Harley Quinn in Dario Fo's drama, and that is uh, he leads the police to believe on his side. So a lunatic character, a funny character can't play a so vital role as Maniac played in the Dario Fo's dramas. And the Maniac agrees with the journalist in her insinuations, insinu-
Insinuations.
insinuations, insinuations of their culpability. Okay, so that means journalists had been uh, following a technique to uh, ask the question to the police inspector and the uh, superintendent of police. So Maniac in some way was in the side of the police department, that means superintendent and inspector, and in another way, Maniac had been playing a role in favor of the journalist. So being a lunatic character like Maniac, he played a very witty role in Dario Fo's drama. And that is the uh, extraordinary creative contribution of Dario Fo in his drama. That means the maniac in Dario Fo, that means Harley Quinn or the funny character in Dario Fo, we see in a different shape that we noticed in the character of the maniac in The Accidental Death of a Dramatist. And he also plays the role of a clown, convinces the policeman to join him in a arousing song, accidentally swallowing his glass eye. Okay, so at the same time he did the funny role, and at the same time he did the serious role. That is the creativity of Dario Fo. While the maniac is certifiably insane, the character exposes the true madness of this tumultuous time in Italy's history. Okay? So, though maniac is as mentally sick, but this character exposes the true madness of this tumultuous time. That means the time was Italy was not in a good socially is not in a stable position in society. There was a um, very ups and downs from several from several corners, from several political parties, from several informist group, several revolutionist group. So in that time, Maniac uh, exposes the true role what Dario Fo wanted to convey in his drama, The Accidental Death of an Anarchist. Okay? So this is the central character of Accidental Death of an Anarchist. And the next character we see, that is the inspector. After Maniac, we see another character, that is constable, okay? Constable, we see the foolish bystander, okay? And reminiscent of the bulbing, incompetent policemen of detective stories. Okay? In police department, all police force will be effective, not like that. This constable was very inefficient, incompetent, and this police constable is an example of such kind of incompetent and inefficient police officer of Italy at the time, and follow orders immediately and agree with whatever anyone says. Okay? And uh, he is a little bit a person of dull brain. Whenever maniac says something, constable agrees with that. Whenever journalist says something, constable agrees with that. When the inspector and his other bosses say something, he constantly agree with that. So he is a dull police officer of dull brain, and naturally with such kind of police officer, Dario wanted to present the uh, subservient or uh, the hierarchy of police department, that the police constable had to follow the order of their superior, and not only that, by following such kind of orders, বসের কথা শুনতে শুনতে তাদের এমন পরিস্থিতি হয়ে যায় যে সবাইকেই তারা ইয়েস বলা শুরু করে। Okay, so some kind of this kind of inefficient or incompetent police officer were there in Italy's police department. By such simple, single-minded people who pokes fun at the hierarchy of the police bureaucracy. Okay, and in Italy, you will see at the time that the layers, the hierarchy of the administration was being followed strictly, and police constable, the relation between police constable and superintendent and inspector shows that hierarchy, that a constable, an officer of below rank has to or had to follow their bosses in all ways, okay, in all way, and he can't deny his order or anything else. 4 constables in the police at the time of Pinelli's death, no direct link to any of the real constable of the character in the play. Okay, so we see only 1 constable in the police department. We don't see the 4 constable. It also means that the all police constable are same. Okay, so they are like the bystander, they are subservient, they have nothing to say differently, they can't disobey the order of their seniors, and that shows the strict role, hierarchical role of the police department of Milan at the time. And this is inspector. The inspector Luigi Calabresi, believed by leftist organization, involved with the death of the anarchist Pino Pinelli. Pino Pinelli is the actual name of the anarchist who died in 15 December 1969. And the inspector name was Luigi Calabresi. Okay. And the inspector, believed by the leftist organization, involved. This inspector, as I have said it earlier, the naturally police department had been working for the ruling party of the class. And for this reason, this inspector, we see that he believed that only leftist organization was involved in this bombing or the terrorist attack in police railway department, and at the same time in bank, but he did not have any clue. So from without any clue, the inspector believed that this man is the anarchist and he has involvement in the bombing of railway station, and told the media that far left was responsible for the Pizza Fontana bombing, having no proof. Let the police raid on the anarchist circle, And this is the inspector who ordered the police department to raid the anarchist area or anarchist circle, invited Pinelli to come to the police station. So this very inspector invited Pinelli to come to have a chat in the police department. And when Pinelli came, uh, then he was arrested and he was interrogated at the police station, and he died 3 days after. And the Lota Continua, a far left newspaper nicknamed Window Strandaler, having suspect to sit on the windowsill during interrogation and taunting him to jump. Okay? And it is also claimed, or it is also believed by the public, that this very police inspector was inspired this anarchist to jump from the window. And that is one kind of instigation to commit suicide. It was believed by a left wing newspaper of Italy at the time, and that's name of Lota Continua. Celebrity ties with CIA and the Republican right in the United States, and had become a target of hatred. So this inspector has a relation with the ruling party of Italy at the time, and on the basis of this relation, the police inspector thought that the left, far left anarchist group are responsible for this bombing, though there is no clue, there is no proof of involvement of this anarchist. And not only that, with that assumed belief, this inspector played all the role to uh, to let the police department to arrest Pinelli. Not only that, he invited Pinelli. So it also presents that the police department of Italy at that time had a link to the government. Okay, of course, it is not a mm, thing that the police department will not be linked to the government. Of course, they should link to the government, but the activities done by the police inspector, that is questionable, and that questions were explored by Dario in his drama, The Accidental Death of an Anarchist. In his libel suit against the editor of Lota Fontana, the focus of the court case shifted to whether celibacy had caused the anarchist's death. The case had just begun proceeding when the play originally premiered. And in the play, the inspector believes that the maniac is a judge and has come to reopen the inquiry into the death of the anarchist. He tries to prove his innocence, but ends up incriminating himself through the maniac's clever questioning. Uh, Inspector tried to say that I am innocent. However, for the maniac's question, he cannot do so. Foe satirizes Calabresi mercilessly, using the maniac to point out the inconsistencies in his story. He also depicts him as having a temper and lacking a sense of humor, punching Bartujo in the face when he thinks he has ridiculed him. So, mm, through the character of Inspector, Bartujo satirizes the police inspector of Italy of the time. He can't understand fun. He can't um, stay in his position. That means he tried to make himself innocent, but finally, for the question of maniac, he couldn't do so. And that is superintendent. Superintendent Marcelo Guida, the head of police in Milan, not present at Pinelli's death, took part in the cover-up and denied records of the interrogation, later changes his story, involved in the framing of Pietro Valpredo, another anarchist, wrongly accused of planning bombs, imprisoned imprisoned him for 3 years, had been a government official under Mussolini, later prison camp of anti-fascist activities during World War II. And reference to his prison camp activities were changed to activities with mercenaries in Bosnia to add a historical context familiar to the contemporary British audience. So the police inspector is, though the superintendent was not present at the time of interrogation of Pinelli, however, this superintendent gave the information that the anarchist friend, he was involved in the bombing at the bank in another place. And he did a work at the time of Mussolini, a government official. Now he has become the chief of police of Milan. Yeah. And so, and he had some other link of that office. Like the inspector, the superintendent believes maniac Abdus investigating anarchist death. So he is not proved enough. And as we can say that for inspector and the superintendent, their mentality was same. Though they did something opposite to the story of anarchist death, and for this reason they are afraid. So they couldn't, both the superintendent and the police inspector, they couldn't understand that the maniac are just investigating, and they believed that this maniac is the real judge. Reacts defensively, thinking maniac against him. And he also react defensively, thinking maniac against him. Happy to whatever maniac says, if it will go get him out of the trouble. He, the inspector, interchangeable roles, both were guilty of questionable practice that contributed to the anarchist death. Okay. So this superintendent and the inspector, both are being the head of the department and being the part of the police department, being the part of the police interrogation, their involvement in the interrogation questioned that they are responsible for the death of death of anarchist, accidental death of an anarchist. Okay, and the last character is journalist, and the journalist, inspired by Camilla Siderna, investigated the case of Pinelli's death and uncovered police corruption, assisted Foe in his research for the play. Not comedic, but straight role. Maniac played a comedy role. However, journalist was very straightforward, not in a comedy role. However, journalist played the true role. And through the true role of the journalist, Dario was successful in his play. Accurate portrayal, experienced journalist on a quest to reveal the truth. What is the role of the journalist? That is, a journalist will also try to reveal the truth. What is the story behind a story? So this journalist is not a fake journalist. So this journalist played the actual role of a journalist that should be. through her line of questioning, Poe brings up themes. And the theme of this drama, the accidental death of an anarchist, is somehow exhibited by the cross questioning of the journalist. That is police infiltration, the government strategy of tension, role of scandal to suppress revolution. So these are the theme that what happens at the time in police department in Milan. Whenever the society of Milan was not in a good condition, there are many revolution, there are many bombing and an awkward situation had been occurring in Milan at the time. And what was the role played by the police at this time? That was a theme of this drama, the accidental death of an anarchist. And this was raised by the question of this journalist and the government strategy of tension. Government always try to believe the public, try to make the public believe that we are in favor of the safety of the public. And for this reason, always government try to make some inconsistencies of information to give the information to general people that we are doing for the safety and security of the common people. So these are the question. And role of scandal to suppress revolution. Okay, and role of scandal. Naturally, when a revolution come, many things came in light from several sources. Okay, so some scandal may suppress the revolution. Naturally, when people in a move, when general people will come forward for demonstration, so at that time, the government or the ruling party or somebody spread some scandal to suppress the revolution. This is one of the theme of this drama, that is the accidental death of an anarchist. And all these themes were indirectly presented by the question of this journalist. No comedic value to the journalist lines. Some portrayal of the journalist have been exaggerated through ridiculous costumes or squeaky voice. The journalist had been speaking with a loud voice, and though the journalist was a female, and if a female speaks with a loud voice, naturally it seems that it is something exaggerated or ridiculous. But this is not actually the reason. But however, it is not comic. Poe didn't intend for her to be funny, but rather advance to politics of the play. So journalist is not a funny character in the play The Death of an Anarchist. However, it is a real journalist, a true sense of term, who helped Dario to present his theme in his drama, The Accidental Death of an Anarchist. Okay, and does it make sense to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then we briefly we can finish. We will be discussing some other theme, okay, and then we will finish today's class already.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these are the main characters. However, we have talked about through the main character, Dario wanted to be successful in presenting his theme and in any way to criticize the police department and the uh, technique of the questioning of police department to, and also government plays some role. So every thing came forward with the help of the character, uh, all characters, central character and police constable and journalist. Okay. So we will share, just we will see some, oh no, I have done it. Uh, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So one major theme of this drama, as we see that the reform versus revolution. At the time, at the second half of the 20th century, when Dario had been writing this drama, there was a situation of Italy that was not favorable. That is not favorable for the common people of uh, uh, Italy. Okay, and in one group, they had been trying to reform the institution and government system or the social system and everything. And there was a revolutionist. They want to rebel to have a new society. Okay, and in another group, that is the government. Okay, so these three groups were in a debate. So there is a debate between why, whether reformation will be helpful for the society or whether revolution will be helpful for the society. There was a constant debate in the society at the time when Foe had been writing. Penelli scandal addresses widespread corruption. Okay. So corruption are there in the society. When Penelli was killed, or so Can you hear me? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, প্যানেলি স্ক্যান্ডাল যেভাবে প্যানেলি মারা গেল সেটা আমরা বলতেই পারি যে এই এই যে স্ক্যান্ডালটা এটা shows the corrupted society of Italy at the time. Okay, reformers sought to improve the existing system. Reformer, the group of the society, they want to improve the existing social system. But revolutionaries aim to entirely reconstruct society and institution. And revolutionists think of reform as a mere brand and incapable of bringing about real change. Revolutionarist তারা সবসময় এরকম বিশ্বাস করতো যে আসলে রিফর্ম করে এটা একটা ব্র্যান্ড এইড, একটা হলো ট্রেডমার্ক, কিন্তু এটা দিয়ে আদৌ আসলে কোনো প্রকারের পরিবর্তন সমাজের সম্ভব না। এটা রিভলিউশনারিস্টরা চিন্তা করতো। ওকে, এবং ইনফর্মার যেটা রিফর্মার তারা আবার বিশ্বাস করতো যে না, তাদের মধ্য দিয়েই হচ্ছে রিফর্মের মধ্য দিয়েই হচ্ছে সমাজ এবং রাষ্ট্র ব্যবস্থা সমস্তকেই হচ্ছে একটা ভালো শেপে দাঁড় করা। সো দেয়ার ওয়াজ আ ডিবেট, হোয়াট ইজ বেনিফিশিয়াল ফর দ্য society. It is a reformation or it is a revolution. Okay? Accidental death of an anarchist is a revolutionary play, reflecting Fo's own politics. However, through the supporting of these two groups, as we have said it earlier, that Dario always tried to reveal the story, try to uncover the truth behind a story. And for this reason, he had his own philosophy of getting a good corruption-free society. That is, what is that? The maniac expresses his belief in revolution in his discourses about scandal. Okay, so how accidental death of an anarchist showed Dario Fo's revolutionary attitude. Okay, that expresses through the maniac speech. Maniac in one time through the maniac, Dario Fo said that people say that they want real justice, so we fob them up with a slightly less unjust system of justice. Worker howl and they are being flogged like donkeys. They want revolution and we give them reforms. Okay, so through the character, through this drama, Dario Fo wanted to play that the government always try to reform the institution or the society to have a good corruption-free society. However, Dario Fo had in a different view that people do not want reformation. People want to have a just society, an ideal society through the revolution, through the radical changes of the institution, police department, and others. And so Fo included a note that the police and the judiciary represented a part of the bourgeois state and that needed to be overturned. Okay, so Fo, through this drama, tried to establish that police should be an unique entity, judiciary should be another unique entity, and government should be another unique entity. Okay, and in case of Milan at the time when Dario Fo had been writing an Anarchist Death, that means police department, judiciary, and the government, this trio has come to one view, that is they have become the fascist or bourgeois. Okay, and through this drama, Dario Fo wanted that this system, that this affinity between these two strong body of the society should be overturned, and that can be done by a revolution. Okay, this is one of the theme of this drama. Another theme, fear and submission. Okay, so in late 60s and 70s, Italy experienced a great deal of social unrest. 1960s and 1970s. The authorities felt threatened by those of the far left and who advocated revolution over reform. As we have told it earlier, a radical restructuring a society would eliminate their own power and control. So as it is a very tumultuous society, okay, so for the establishment of the society, who was in the view that the society's structure should be eliminated and have a new one. And fascist organization and members of the police force began committing terrorist attack. Okay. And when these three, that means police department and the government, will run together, then the terrorist acts towards the common people will be exaggerated. That was shown in this drama. These terrorist acts and blaming them on the far left, hoping that the public would demand a strong crackdown on their enemies. Okay? And যখন এই টেররিস্ট অ্যাটাক পুলিশ করছে ইয়ের প্রতি, তার একটাই কারণ দেখাচ্ছে যে দ্য পাবলিক উড ডিমান্ড আ স্ট্রং ক্র্যাকডাউন অন দেয়ার এনিমিস। সো এরকম টেররিস্ট অ্যাটাক যেটা পিলেনিকে করেছে পুলিশ ডিপার্টমেন্ট, সেটা দিয়ে পাবলিককে বোঝাচ্ছে যে আসলে এটা পাবলিকেরই ডিমান্ড দ্যাট সাচ কাইন্ড অফ অ্যানার্কিস্ট শুড বি কোয়েশ্চেন, শুড বি পানিশড ইন সাচ এ ওয়ে। These terrorist acts create a climate of fear, in which people were unlikely to push for major change. So through this such kind of terrorist attack, the general people will be pacified. And that is the strategy of the government. Both the maniac and the journalist allude to this strategy of tension. Okay. And the journalist brings up the theme of police infiltration into political groups. Okay. So another thing, that political group, as we have said, that one fascist group, that means the government, another is the left wing, and another in the business class. Okay, but police department becomes a relative, becomes mentally in relation with one political group. So here journalist brings up that the infiltration into police political groups, and the maniac adds that such infiltration traitors also carry out atrocities to give themselves a good excuse for a police crackdown. And the journalist also shares statistics about the number of terrorist attacks carried out by far right organization. So you will be aware that in 173 bomb attacks to date, 102 have been proved to be the work of the fascist. এখানে একটা পরিসংখ্যান দেওয়া হয়েছে যে 173টা বম্বিং এর মধ্যে 102টাই বলা হচ্ছে যে prove to be the work of the fascist, and the fascist or the parallel organization or is strongly implicated in half of the remaining 71 cases. So in some way, such kind of terrorist attack is created to create fear, and when the public will be afraid and the general people will be afraid, they will be subservient and they will not raise question about the fascist government or the bourgeois government. This is one of the theme. Okay, and corruption, as we know that this is all through the society, we will see that corruption is there. Okay, in police department and the other parts. Okay, while the okay, 10 minutes. Okay. 10 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay, so corruption was another theme. Okay, so you will read this, and also madness. Madness is another. It is a maniac truly crazy, or it is the world around him that is mad. Okay, And does madness mean being separated from reality, or simply seeing the world differently than others? The maniac behaves in a paradoxical way. He engages in increasingly more elaborate lies and disguise, yet he does so in order to reveal the truth. Okay, so madness, who is actually mad? Okay, so this question arises. However, through the madness, Dario wanted to exhibit the truth, and as is one of the chief motive of Dario's drama, or theme of the drama, is to inbuilt or to uncover the truth through the character of madness. The Dario was successful in covering in uncovering the truth. So it is one of the theme, and truth and illusion also we see, and layers of reality. Okay, several layers of reality will be there, and class oppression also another theme. Okay, so these are the main theme that can be discussed in the play. Okay, so I am not reading the detailed slide, it will take much time. So you will, if you have any question, we can answer the question now. Hello.
Sir, did you share those slides with us before? Did you provide this?
Yeah,
Oh,
all,
okay,
but
sir.
these are not in the slide. These are in the Microsoft Word version. Okay,
Okay, sir. Sir,
but
if you have, did you provide this? I asked that.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, that means I did not download them. Okay.
No, it is not necessary to download. Then if you check the email, okay, then you will get all this in Word format. Okay, but for taking this class, I have made it in slide presentation. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Who has chat? Who says something? Chat is open. Sir,
স্যার
please share the
স্যার
screen.
মানে হ্যাঁ স্যার, এটা আমি বলেছিলাম, মানে মনে করেছিলাম যে হয়তো আপনি স্ক্রিন শেয়ার করছেন না, পরে না স্যার ভুলটা আমারই, আমি আসলে অন্য জায়গায় চাপ দিয়ে ফেলেছিলাম ভুলে,
Okay,
অন্য জায়গায় ক্লিক করে ফেলেছিলাম।
okay. আজমেরি জাহান,
স্যার।
শোনা যাচ্ছে আমাকে?
জি স্যার।
বোঝা যাচ্ছে?
জি স্যার।
আমরা কিছু ক্যারেক্টার অ্যানালাইজ করলাম এবং কিছু থিম নিয়ে আলোচনা করলাম। ওকে, এবং ফ্রম দ্য নেক্সট সানডে আমাদের ঈদুল হাজার ভ্যাকেশন হচ্ছে। সো এনজয় ইউর ভ্যাকেশন। হ্যাঁ,
তাহলে আজকে লাস্ট ক্লাস?
আজকে ঈদের আগে লাস্ট ক্লাস, ঈদের পরে ঈদের বন্ধে আবার আরেকটা ক্লাস। ওকে, তবে মানে ছুটির নোটিশ দেখে আমি এটা বলতেছি আর কি, বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় যে ছুটির নোটিশ ওয়েবসাইটে দিয়েছে। ওকে, যদি ডিপার্টমেন্টের একাডেমিক কমিটি আবার কোনো মিটিং করে বা কোনো ক্লাস কন্টিনিউ, মনে হয় করবে না। ওকে, আর আমরা 4টা ড্রামা শেষ করলাম। আপনাদের এখানে মনে হয় কয়টা ড্রামা আছে? 6টা না 8টা, ঠিক আছে। এরপরে আরো সেপ্টেম্বর মাস পুরোটা মানে আমরা 15 তারিখের পর থেকে পাচ্ছি, হয়তো 4টা ক্লাস পাবো, তখন আর একটা ড্রামা শেষ করব। ওকে,
নেক্সট কোন ড্রামা পড়াবেন?
এরপরে যেটা আছে সেটা দেখি, যেটা অ্যাভেলেবল কিনা সেই ড্রামাটা আমি এরপরে আছে আপনাদের হলো বিজয়